This is going to be another really drastic cutback. Okay, so I'm looking at the trunk, and I think this is going to end up being the back side of the tree, and this is going to be the front side, and I'll use this as the main apex. So I think what I'm going to do now is take my pruners and go ahead and remove some of the material that is just in the way and is going to be removed. So this should go pretty quickly. I'm still leaving some of this stuff longer than what I need to leave it. I just want to get the tree down to a point where I can really see it and begin to figure out what I'm going to do. That branch just has to come off. So I'm just going to take it off right here, and then I'll come back with the saw and the concave cutters. In fact, I'm going to need the saw on that one. That one's too big. Years ago, I would have been tempted to leave these branches long and think that I could develop the branches back in. But I've learned over the time, just through experience, that, you know, I leave the length stub where I want the next level of ramification to come from. Because if I leave it this long, it's gonna bud out here at the end, and the next level of ramification is gonna be out here at the end. So I want this branch. You know, this is the primary. I want the secondary branches to come off at this point, not further out, but right here where the stub is. So I'll seal these before I'm all done. And this is Yopon holly, so it'll bud back like crazy. All right, so this branch is on the inside of a curve, so I'm going to take it out. All right, I still think this one's a little long. See if I can hit the camera now. Oh! Now I'm going to go back and just clean up a few of these cuts, and now that I've roughed them out, I'll try to clean them up, and then I'll put cut paste on them. I still have to decide what to do here, and this guy's just coming off. Alright, if I left this wound out like this, it would even bulge more as it healed. I'm going to use my knob cutter to hollow this out a little bit so that as this heals, it stays about the same level as it is now. This would also be a good, you could also use a Dremel tool here and carve this out nicely. Depending on how hard the wood of the tree is, this can be a task. Just have to do it by taking small bites. Alright, I do think I'm going to get my Dremel and hollow that out a little bit. I think that's still too long. In fact, I'm sure it's too long. Okay, here I have a choice. I have a big stub or I have a smaller stub. Well, always you're trying to build taper, so I know over time this branch is going to end up getting much larger, and this one's also going to get larger. So I think since I can make a choice here, I'm going to take the big stub out and leave the smaller stub. Here and here, I just have what I have to work with. I could take those down all the way and let it totally rebud down to one trunk line or one line, but I think that would leave so many scars on the tree, it'd never look that great. So we'll go like this and just see how it turns out. This will require another really hard work through after it has budded back out. What you'll do is where it has budded, you'll come back and clean up these scars so that you create the taper so it looks natural as it continues out the branch. It's tempting to try to clean up these stubs now, but it's better to wait until you have the buds, and then you'll know exactly what to cut and what not to cut. Okay, this is a little more than a Dremel tool, but this was handy and it had a nice heavy bit on it. This is a long shaft die grinder, and I'll really have to make sure I hold it steady so that I don't let it jump out and get some of the bark. Alright, just that amount of little hollow right there will help this heal more naturally and it won't stick out so much. So, and this one here, I'm afraid if I take this down as far as this branch, that I'll put this branch in jeopardy. So I think I'm going to carve this out a little bit more, and maybe even down the side here, like maybe a large branch was broken off here at one time. So. So that's just a rough start. I'll come back with some gouges and try to clean that up a little bit and try to make it a little more natural looking. So now, what I want to happen is I want the live tissue to roll over this. And then you'll just see that I'll keep it opened up so that it looks like an old branch broken off there from a storm or something. Okay, for now we're pretty much finished, except for the fact that it's time to go ahead and get this out of this, this is probably a 5-gallon pot, I don't know, large container, get the roots down. We've reduced 99% of the foliage. Now would be a great time to go ahead and reduce the roots at the same time. I've done this before with this kind of holly tree, and they respond very well. You would need to be careful with some species, but with this species I think we can get away with this, even though it's July. Aftercare will be very important, but I'm going to take the saw to this and we're going to saw the bottom, saw the roots off, and get it so we can put it in a container.